Mad Max Fury Road is the fourth installment in the Mad Max film series. Sometime after the apocalypse, a man named Max is kidnapped by the war boys of Immortan Joe, the cruel tyrant of the Citadel, slave master of men and abuser of women. Max is taken on what appears to be a routine mission for Joe's people, but soon learns that Furiosa, Joe's commander, has freed a group of women who Joe was abusing. After a series of misadventures, Furiosa and Max join forces to escape Immortan Joe and free the enslaved women. It's an excellent film for a variety of reasons, but it's not without its detractors. One common complaint about the film is that it focuses so heavily on Furiosa and the enslaved women, and less on the titular character. In reality, after watching this film, I have to conclude that Max and Furiosa share about the same amount of screen time and approximately the same amount of lines. People crack wise about how little Max says during a long stretch of the film in which he's attached to a car, but Furiosa says almost nothing for the first 20 minutes of the film. Fury Road is a visual tale. It's not heavy on dialogue for anyone. It's more Furiosa's story, but she and Max are in the movie about the same amount of time. The complaint completely ignores the fact that all Mad Max sequels are about Max stumbling into someone else's story and someone else's problem. He's a drifter. The original Mad Max was his story, yes, but The Road Warrior, Beyond Thunderdome, and Fury Road are about Max dealing with the problems of other people and other societies. In fact, Max gets mixed up in two such societies in Beyond Thunderdome. It's never about him, so Fury Road is actually the standard for the sequels, not the deviation.
Max. My name is Max.
Even more than the narrative, the most talked about and striking aspect of Fury Road is the visuals. The kinetic energy of the film is achieved by center framing. Almost every shot in the film is center framed, with the crosshairs directly in the middle. Our eye never needs to wander. Everything is presented so perfectly and without confusion. Even in a fight scene in which the editing is constantly cutting to new angles, we are always in the center of the action. Our eyes never need to readjust. In recent years, action films have employed a shaky chaos to convey energy, but it often obscures the action, taking us out of its world. Mad Max Fury Road connects with the audience, always keeping our eyes on the action. We never miss a thing, even with so much going on. The film employs a lot of stunt work and practical effects, but what is sometimes overlooked is how much computer effects added to the film. The digital removal of Furiosa's arm, for example. Nearly all of the Citadel, Immortan Joe's headquarters. Also, the amazing storm sequence, and more environments than one would think. Has there ever been a more beautiful day-for-night shot than this? Fury Road's visuals are achieved through the marriage of the practical and the digital, not over-reliance on one or the other. The Wasteland has its own mythology, and considering the world has not been dead for long, Max himself was in his 20s or 30s when civilization still existed, it's a wonder that people can be so convinced of Immortan Joe's godhood. Of course, we have to take into consideration that these people are desperate. They have to believe in something. The cult's beliefs have a loose affiliation with Norse mythology, the pantheon of the Aesir. But while Norse lore is polytheistic, Immortan Joe has perverted this ancient spirituality into a monotheistic faith, in which he is the Almighty. His promise to his war boys is that when they die, they will be ushered into Valhalla. In Norse mythology, Valhalla is an afterlife populated in part by warriors slain in battle. This means Immortan Joe has taken an afterlife concept that explicitly suits his violent purposes and tricks men into fighting for him.
It is by my hand you will rise from the ashes of this world!
In addition to the complex mythology of the Mad Max universe, Fury Road is also populated and layered through its thematic elements, notably its anti-tyrannical narrative, concern with the value of human life, and the strength of women in a patriarchal society. Fury Road has messages to deliver, and fortunately for the audience, it has these moral statements painted on a wall. It makes the subtext of the film, quite literally, the text, but this film containing a flamethrowing guitarist has no pretense of being subtle. So, what are these values and central questions of the film? Our babies will not be warlords. We are not things. And who killed the world? Let's start with the first one. Our babies will not be warlords. We are spared having to witness the sexual abuse of the women, thank goodness. And frankly, we don't need to see it. Everything is visually explained after the fact. A group of women escaped a tyrant. One woman is noticeably pregnant, and they are wearing the symbol of the cult around their waists. We don't even need the war boys' passing mention that these women are Joe's prize breeders to know what happened to them. Fury Road is the story of women taking back their rights from men who tell them what to do with their bodies. Joe even calls the child inside one of the women his property, removing any rights the woman has to the child she is carrying.
Cheeto, we are not things!
We are not things!
I don't want to hear that again!
They were her words!
And now she's dead!
We are not things. The words spoken by the old woman are key to understanding the world of Fury Road. In addition to this as a philosophy and a mantra to inspire the enslaved women, this also says a lot about how human beings are treated as commodities in the film. Women are hooked up to machines to produce milk for Immortan Joe and his family. Max himself is used as a thing, specifically his blood. He is used to give transfusions to war boys. In the beginning of the film, his body is tattooed with information about his blood type. He escapes only as he is about to be branded with the symbol of Immortan Joe. The war boys are also seen as things, cannon fodder for Joe. If Mad Max Fury Road is the refutation of people as commodities, then the film has a strong message about the importance of human dignity.
You're an old man's battle fodder, killing everyone and everything!
We're not to blame!
Then who killed the world?
Nux has no response, but the answer seems clear. In Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, it is said that the world ended due to a conflict over resources between two powers. But the world didn't die because of lack of resources, it died because of the war over such resources. No compromise could be found, cooler heads did not prevail, and the world was irradiated and poisoned. Even Immortan Joe is not safe from its effects. When Splendid asks, who killed the world, it's not really a question, it's an accusation. Aggression and lack of humanity were what killed the world, and Joe personifies this. He is the face of the apocalypse. The Mad Max universe echoes the mythological concept of the Wasteland, the idea that the land itself is cursed due to the actions of its rulers. This has roots in Celtic mythology, but also spread to 12th century French story Percival, the Story of the Grail. Its most famous modern usage is T.S. Eliot's poem The Wasteland, but the mythological concept has spread to film as well. In Dread, the land is called the Cursed Earth. It also reoccurs in The Lion King. Scar is not so bad a ruler that he can ruin weather patterns. Post-Mufasa Pride Rock is so desolate because the kingdom is cursed due to what Scar did to achieve his power. And so it is with the universe of Mad Max. It is quite literally called the Wasteland. This is spoken several times in Road Warrior, and becomes a more noticeable theme in Fury Road.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
Another great thing to note about the film is how well it handles characters. Every major character on the side of the good guys goes through a traditional arc. Nobody is left behind. Max's arc is that of non-interference versus hope. He remarks to Furiosa that hope is a mistake. He doesn't want to be involved. Even when faced with the enslaved women, he only reluctantly helps when he has no other option. His conscience eventually gets to him, but only in the third act. Furiosa's arc is about redemption. Although we never see it, we can read between the lines here and surmise that Furiosa is complicit in many of Immortan Joe's atrocities. In the end, she makes a stand and wins. Nux becomes a complete person, sacrificing himself not for Immortan Joe's false promises, but for the good of others.
Why miss me?
There is always a danger when making an action movie decrying aggression and war. The action makes it look so appealing. However, I would say that Fury Road uses its violence responsibly, always showing the consequences, and showing the aftermath of tragedy, the real psychological effects of violence. Also, it should be noted that while Immortan Joe had to die for the people to be free, the rest of the takeover of the Citadel was a bloodless coup. Furiosa peacefully ascends to her position as leader without really having to threaten Joe's living family or the citizens. A violent film that is responsible in its application. Furiosa did not seek power, and even in the end, she doesn't want it, but it's her responsibility now. Saving the women wasn't enough. She needs to save everyone. This is her redemption.